I want to welcome everyone to the State of the City for the City of Bedford. I'm Mayor Craig. I appreciate everyone coming out this evening and those that are watching on Facebook this evening for this presentation to inform all of our citizens what is taking place here in our city. First, we'll take a look back at our accomplishments in 2025. And I do want to say, whenever we're looking back at this, and whenever we get to the point that we're looking towards the future, one thing that is a priority as mayor and for the city, whenever we talk about a lot of our projects and things that we're doing, is that we are being proactive. It's much better to be proactive than reactive whenever we're doing things with the city to make the city run efficiently. So we're going to start with public transportation. And of course, our public transportation to all of us is basically known as our task bus, which operates in the City of Bedford and operates Monday through Friday. So even back in 2020, my first year in office, I was actually surprised whenever I started looking at these numbers. I always looked at our task bus as just something that we had, and it went around and helped a few of our citizens get to where they needed to go. And whenever you look at these numbers, we served nearly 29,000 passengers in 25, equivalent to each Bedford resident riding the task bus twice. Traveled approximately 75,000 miles and completed over 25,000 trips, averaging 100 trips each workday, which is a large volume of force transporting our citizens to places that they need to go, whether if it's to the grocery store, to a doctor's appointment, whatever the case may be, that we're able to offer them that service to get to where they need to go. Last year, we mitigated all of our route match software to a new server. We did this so that we could, of course, improve system reliability. Also, we cross-trained staff members so that we could be more flexible and we would have the staff to be able to operate the task buses. Whenever we have people call and schedule their rides, we want to be there and be sure that whenever we tell them that we will, that we're there to be able to get them to where they need to go and do not have to contact anyone and say, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it. We provide a service and we're very proud of that service that we provide to our citizens. Next, we'll take a look at our street department. Street department provides many services to the city, maintaining our roads and sidewalks. Animal control is even classified into this area, managing trash collection, snow removal, which is very important to us, and a lot of other services. In 2025, we participated in the Community Crossings Grant. We resurfaced 3.5 miles of roadway. And if you take note, this is a little bit less than what we normally do whenever we resurface roadways. However, this last year, we had 2 city streets in the City of Bedford that whenever they were accepted into the city, that they were concrete. We were unable to blacktop over concrete, so these 2 city streets, Clover Lane and Sanders Lane, actually had to be completely dug out all the way down to the dirt, redone, reworked, and asphalt, which was considerably more expensive than what we normally do just for a milling and resurfacing. We poured approximately 1,250 feet of new sidewalks on Lincoln Avenue, and we also, in our sidewalk replacement program, did over approximately 1,400 feet of new sidewalks within the city. We added a new plow and spreader truck. This is something that we work on, and there again, as I said a minute ago, as far as being proactive. These plow trucks aren't necessarily used, of course, year-round. So whenever we get ready to plow snow, we have to make sure that they're in operating order and they have to be able to run. One year we had our plow trucks, and we had one plow truck that went down for some time. We had another one that was down, and the mechanics were able to get it going back up and get it on the road. So it's something that's really important that we have adequate plow trucks to be able to take care of our city streets whenever they need our attention. As far as to the spreader trucks, with technology, we've upgraded things that we're able to control the salt and things that we put on our roadways, that we can be more efficient with the salt that we're putting out there. We also added a new side mower tractor, something along the right-of-ways of our roads and stuff to be able to mow with, to cut the grass and the weeds, so that we don't have issues whenever people pull up to intersections, as far as visibility, being able to see oncoming traffic to safely pull out and maneuver the way that they need to. We respond to over 200 animal control calls. We reunited 11 microchip pets with their owners. Now, this is something that we started that is very rewarding, from the standpoint that we have people, unfortunately, that their dogs or whatever do take off, and whenever we're able to put those animals back with their owners, of course, they are very, very appreciative that we're able to do that for them. We also started and addressed the feral cat population by a trap, neuter, and return program. This is something that we've looked at actually for probably 2 to 3 years as implementing this policy. We looked at it to see how it was going to work. I talked with a lot of other cities that actually are in the process, had been doing this for a while. Everyone was very pleased with the outcome with it. And they said normally it takes time. Within 2 to 3 years after you start the program, you definitely at that point in time start seeing major results, reference to your feral cat population that you have out in your neighborhoods. Another major accomplishment in 2025 was the completion of the roundabout on John Williams Boulevard and Beach Street. Excuse me. This was an NDOT project. It took several years. It seemed like it got delayed 2 or 3 times for whatever reason, but we did finally, of course, get it wrapped up. The total investment was the $2.7 million, which 88% was covered by federal funding, and the city invested the 12%. So, of course, the roundabout, some people have different opinions, and that's perfectly all right. I think that has helped the flow of traffic on John Williams Boulevard. I think it helps drastically control the speed limit on John Williams Boulevard. So therefore, I think as far as to a safety mechanism all the way around, in my opinion, it's definitely been a plus for our city. I know on Beach Street, if I was going north towards the roundabout, I normally would not go that way because it was a hazard to try to pull out on John Williams Boulevard, and this has eliminated that problem. Moving on to utilities. We've worked with utilities. Utilities can be very challenging for all of us, and unfortunately for all of our residents, as far as to dealing with utilities, as far as to infrastructure and expense. They've worked the asset management plan, they update their fire hydrants, upgraded the wastewater treatment plant, performed routine maintenance. We've done a lot in that area to work with everything that we have, but also saying at this point in time, we still have an aging system and we still have a lot of work that has to be done. And we will continue to work on that to maintain and improve what we have. The Spider Creek Lift Station and Storage Tank was completed. This project has been a long-term project from the standpoint of IDEM. IDEM advised that this action was going to have to take place several years ago. Actually, we had a mandate that it had to be completed by December 31st of last year. We were able to meet that timeline, accomplish this task. So, it's improved the system capacity. And by putting that tank in, we also helped us with our east-west sewer line, which is going to be going up by GM. It's already in place as far as to whenever it's appropriate time for General Motors to hook onto that so that they can also work off of our system. Also, there was a force main put in from Spider Creek, the tank down there, and the new lift station over to Norton Lane for us to get rid of that volume of water the wastewater and everything out of that area directly over to Norton Lane to the main that goes down to the filtration plant. This was an expensive project. There was no doubt. We discussed that. We have shown this slide before. I just feel like this slide is very important, that the project is over now, but it also shows how the city worked to come up with funding over $15 million to put towards that project. And then actually, when the project was finished, we were a little bit under budget. So that was also a good thing for that project. And it's up and running, of course, at this time. All of us are very happy that it's working and it's in place. Unfortunately, the other side point of that is that we have more that we have to do. But this was a very big project, and we're glad that it's done. It's helped tremendously with the overflows down at Spider Creek, which of course was a major problem for years. Planning and zoning. Whenever I talk about planning and zoning, I really think that a lot of people maybe just summarize that this isn't a big deal. They just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's kind of just what they do. They do so much for our city, you know, review development projects, land usage and everything. This group right here, this board, really sets the precedent, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, as what direction our city is going as far as housing, zoning, and different things like this as to what we're going to allow and not allow. And a lot of this really determines how your city may function, how it's looked at, and really is kind of the face of your city as to what all of this board does, as to what they allow and what they don't allow. It's quite amazing as to the work that they do. First, we'll look at residential permits. I'm just going to run through this because it's quite amazing here in the City of Bedford. It represents over $20 million investment in residential improvements in 2025. 11 new duplex permits, 33 new single-family permits, and 87 remodel single-family permits. Those are big numbers. There's a lot going on in the City of Bedford. Then we're going to look at our commercial permits. $32 million in commercial property investment in our city, 13 new commercial permits, 30 remodel permits. Some of the examples we wanted to list on here: Four Seasons Storage, the new Valvoline building out on 16th Street, an addition on the Animal Hospital at Bedford, the old movie theater, Rookies, that's been changed into an arcade and axe throwing and stuff that is great for our community from that standpoint. So there again, as I say this, a lot of residents, if they don't go to different areas of the town, all of us kind of, when we go someplace, we kind of have our main avenue that we go. Sometimes we don't get off that beaten path a lot, and they have no idea what is actually taking place in the City of Bedford whenever they see some of the housing projects and some of the other things that are taking place. We had several areas of business growth in 2025. We have a few examples here listed. You know, Culver's. Culver's was talked about for years, and I have to say there again, when I talked about planning and zoning and stuff, they worked with Culver's for, I want to say, probably over a year, working with them for us to see about finding a location for them to go and put in Culver's. You know, one of the other things that we kind of talk about, and jokingly at times, was the standpoint whenever after they went in was, you know, the highest sales for an opening week in the company's history. That was rather huge. There's no doubt about that. And I think that just goes to show that there was a lot of talk in Bedford about always wanting one for a long time, and when it got here, people really took advantage of it. And of course, we have the Wawa convenience gas station. There's been a lot of talk about that. I know they started and they had some issues with things and had to slow down. Of course, as we know, they're back in full swing. They're up there working. They'll have a completion date sometime later this year. We're looking very forward to them being open and having another asset for our community to be able to use. in CAP Group, they did I refer to it as, another project up there on the back side of their other project that they had up on 5th Street, 64,000 square foot building. I think it was around $3 million. And that's something that I look at also from the standpoint of, we talked about rookies a minute ago, we're talking about CAP Group, we're talking about a lot of these things, and what's really nice about some of this stuff is that these are our local people investing in our community to make it better. And these are people that are investing in our community to a point that we really don't have to worry about them picking up and going someplace else, because this is home to them and this is their community, which is a great thing for us and for them. Fleet and facilities. This is a new position that I'd asked for. The City Council went with me on it. And I think that we've seen a lot of this taking place here in the last year. I think a lot of it has gotten better. And there again, as I talk about being proactive on our facilities and our buildings, it's very easily to sit back and do nothing. And then you get to the point that sometimes it can be rather expensive. I mean, we've worked, and I'll continue to talk on some of the projects here in a minute as far as to what's taken place, and this individual oversees those projects. The other thing, whenever I was at the city and I was in the HR position, I was also over all the insurance claims and the renewals and everything. And we positioned that off because there was a lot of times that we'd have people that would hit stuff, damage stuff and everything, and at times it would just fall through the cracks because whoever was doing it did not have the time to be able to address it adequately and deal with it. So now whenever we have issues like this, they're able to deal with it, get with the insurance companies or whatever, and get restitution for whatever was damaged or whatever needed to take place. City Council chambers, as we know, it's under renovation. They're working on it, as we talked earlier today, setting up here for this meeting tonight. It's going to be very nice whenever that facility is done, that we will be able to use it. It's going to be good for the public. We'll have hopefully close, adequate parking for them to be able to attend and not have to walk very far to the facility. It's going to be extremely nice. We're also going to, of course, when we talk about the city council meetings, we have so many meetings now with the new laws that have to be on Facebook, of course, for the public to view, which is perfectly fine. We have no issue with it. But now we're going to have a designated space that we'll be able to do that. If we have a pension board meeting for the police department, rather than going there and setting up and doing everything, we're going to have a place to go, be able to conduct the meeting, and we'll be done. It will save a lot of time from the standpoint of going to different locations and setting up, that everything will be in place for us to be able to use. Our fleet and facilities also help to oversee some projects at the Bedford Fire Department headquarters. There were some things that were brought to my attention. Of course, I was not aware of all of them. One of the issues was parking at the Central Fire Station. They said they don't get called in very often off duty to come in to fight a major fire, but whenever that would happen, a lot of the off-duty firemen that would come in would have no place to park. They would either have to park a distance from the station, or if they decided to park in the grass or whatever the case may be. Now with the additional parking, if they get called in, they'll have parking spaces. They can respond in a timely manner. Emergency management also has meetings there at times in the basement. They have a location that they use, and whenever they would have meetings, then there would also be issues with parking. So this is something that we were able to do. Also, the kitchen upgrade, they're there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Kitchen gets used a lot. So it was in need of some updates. We were able to do that. Everything went really well. It was a great project, and it's good. We also worked on some HVAC there and got it in line and got it taken care of at one time. And then there was also, of course, the station's fairly old. There was issues in the basement with plumbing. Their drains were stopped up and just corroded. They would not work. So we went in and got some concrete cut out, got new piping put in and everything, and got the issue addressed. So there again, maintenance plays a big role in what we do. And then, of course, our derrick, our sign. This is, we put in, it's been a long time goal, and I have to say it has definitely been a long time goal. This project has went on for years back, I want to say in 2016 or 17, whenever there was an issue with the property, trying to acquire the property, some of it that was around the derrick. It has went on for some time. I think this is a lot for our community. You know, limestone is our industry, has been for years, and it's still there. And regional opportunities helped fund some of that, and also some ready money went towards it. So it's done, it's in the past now, and we can move on, and hopefully it should stand for many years. On a side note on that, whenever we redid this, one thing that we did was that sign was put in that frame up there, so that in the future, if we ever need to replace the basic sign, it just goes up and comes out of that frame. They can reface it, and then they can put it back in. Parks and Recreation. It's a very active place. They have a lot of programs out there. You know, and there is a lot of upkeep to maintaining our city parks and those facilities. Over 3,100 attendees participated in several of the Parks Department events last year. That does not include some of the other athletic and fitness programs and some of the trips. So that's a large number for the City of Bedford, and you can see the list there of people that played in the numbers in some of those events. In the athletic side of it, you know, the Softball Association, their fall leagues, different tournaments, and of course, one item on there that really stands out to me, of course, and that's pickleball. We got our pickleball courts in, and of course, the common comment is that everybody wants more pickleball courts. Another thing on there that's really in some of the runs around town and stuff that they host for different events, the Youth Running Club. Whenever I see those kids come out and run in those programs and stuff, it's just fantastic to see those kids come out and participate in those activities. We have some key improvements at Otis Park Golf Course. As you can see there, the pavilion on number 5 fairway, and they poured some concrete stuff at the driving range. And then the other thing out there, of course, that you can see, one of the main things that's really amazes me every time I'm around it, and that's the Claude Akins. I've never seen anything like it. 108 teams and 648 participants. Otis Park is really noted for something. Community engagement. We want to invest back into our community. And one thing that we did that I think was huge, and it's something that's very difficult to do, and it doesn't seem like it would be, and that's we launched a new website. And whenever you stop and think about, we think about living here in Bedford, that we know Bedford, we know pretty much what goes on in Bedford, but you can still look at the website and get a lot of information. But if you're coming from out of town or whatever, and you think, hey, do I want to go to Bedford or not? One of the first things they're probably going to do is look at your website to see what you have to offer. So this is a high priority that we've been able to work with, and we've been able to take care of it. And earlier tonight at our council meeting, you know, we had an update from the Bedford Public Library. We've kind of been making it a point to work with them on some of the events here in the city, especially those that pertain to our kids, to give them an opportunity to come out and have activities to do. One other thing, of course, that we started that I've had a lot of good comments on, and I try to do a weekly Facebook post on Fridays whenever they're put out from the mayor's desk. That's something that we've had a lot of feedback on, and it's just getting information out to our citizens and kind of updating them on what's going on in our city. and I think it's very beneficial for them, and it's beneficial to us that we can let them know what's going on in our city. People are curious as to what's going on, and this way we can put it out there, and they kind of see what's going on, and they can see that there's progress, there's things being done, and actions being taken that needs to be taken. So it's been something that's been very great in my opinion. And then the city also proud to launch the Hometown Hero Banner program. And I have to say, wow, that was unbelievable. We launched that, and that was something that I'd been wanting to do for 2 to 3 years. And unfortunately, I apologize to everyone from the standpoint it took so much time to get it done. But we were able to get it done, and the citizens really latched onto it and enjoyed it. We're actually we bought more brackets for this year to put up more banners and stuff that people are wanting to put up. So whenever you go down John Williams Boulevard later this year, you'll see a lot more banners representing what I will refer to the heroes of Bedford and Lawrence County. A sense of community is important to our citizens. We continue to work on Independence Day fireworks at Wilson Park. I'll never forget whenever I brought that back during COVID. It was a great thing in my opinion, and it was huge. The citizens really appreciated it. And there, as listed, we try to work with a lot of our nonprofits to assist them and benefit them in ways that we can, because they are very important, of course, to our community. Owner-occupied rehabilitation program. That was discussed this evening at our council meeting. And whenever you deal with these people on a first-hand experience, we talked about this evening, I think there was 107 applicants that applied for this grant money, and there were 17 homeowners that were assisted. But I have to tell you, these homeowners, whenever they are awarded this money, these people are so grateful for this program to help them, whether if it's a new roof, if it's a new HVAC, or whatever the case may be. These people are so appreciative of what we're able to do for them. And hopefully the council, for information, agreed this evening that we're going to try to do this program again if awarded, so that we'll be able to help more of our citizens here in Bedford. Our police department plays a critical role in making our city a place where people want to live, work, and raise their families. Whenever you're in this line of work, it's very unpredictable, and oftentimes it can be dangerous, as we all know. So it's very important for us to have a police department. One of the things that people look for whenever they move to a community, the quality of place and everything, and one of the top priorities, and all of us that are here this evening, I think if we ask ourselves that question, what would be one of the top priorities for us to live someplace, and that's the fact that we would want our families to be safe. And that's one thing, in my opinion, that Bedford does an excellent job as doing the best to offer a safe community. In 2025, they've got some arrest information listed here that they work on. One of the things of note is that the first one there, over 14,000 calls for service. That's a lot of calls in a year for service. So, and whenever you look at those calls for service, you also have to stop and look at, they answered those calls, whether if it took them 2 minutes or 2 hours, whatever was involved in those calls. But then whenever you drop down that list and look at the warrants, the traffic stops, the citations, all the other stuff listed there, just kind of stop and think in the back of your mind how much time that takes that's dedicated with all the other information above the 14,000 calls for service. We were also able to do the garage at the police department out on 16th Street. We were wanting to get that done. When they moved out there, they had their armored carrier, a couple of other vehicles that they used. They were not able to get them out there at the time. So we were able to get that building built out there. Those vehicles are there now. Whenever they give a call in for their SWAT team or whatever the case may be, they respond there. They don't have to regroup and come and get their vehicle and then go do what they need to do. It's there at the police department. When they get there, do what they need to do, and then they're ready to go. Our fire department is another vital part, of keeping our community safe. And something that I implemented some time ago that I think was a good thing to do without a doubt, and that was the emergency calls for medical assistance. I talked with the chief, and we set up a list of things that whenever the police department or whoever got a call, if it fell in a certain criteria, then they were going to contact the fire department and they would respond to whatever medical emergency they had at that point in time. And with the shortage of ambulances and different things, it's played a vital role in our community to be able to offer that service to our citizens for public safety, which they desperately needed at times with the ambulances shortage. And still at this point in time, we have more ambulances available. We're still continuing to do this, and we will continue to do it as long as I'm here. From the standpoint, we have 3 fire stations. If we have someone that's having a medical emergency and they're in the very north end of town, if that engine truck is at that station, it can be dispatched to that location and could arrive 3-5 minutes, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before an ambulance could ever get there. So that's something in the community that we have started doing, and I have to, put a good word out for our fire department, because believe me, there's no doubt, and I understand it, this has increased their run volume dramatically. I've not asked for it to see what the comparison is on the runs that they make for medical compared to what they actually do for fire runs. Continued improvements with the fire department. One of the things that we were able to do that I had wanted to do for some time, and that was have what I would refer to as a rescue truck. So we were able to buy just a 550 truck, not a big fire engine. We bought the truck, had the bed made and everything and put on it. This vehicle can respond to medical runs out of the central station if it's in that area. This truck is also used for extrication, where if it runs in the city or we contract with the county and it runs out into the county. In the years past, we've dealt with issues whenever we'd have a big snow or something. We would actually have to take the rescue tools and load in the back of a pickup truck that they do have and try to utilize that to go out into the county if we had bad weather to be able to get to where they needed to go. This vehicle is small enough, it's 4-wheel drive, it's very capable of going any place they need it to go out into the county and to be able to respond appropriately. Department was busy providing education and support to the community. So, they don't only fight fires, and they don't only do medical runs. They also, 193 new inspections were done. They visited the classrooms and had the poster contest and handed out smoke detectors. So they're out there front and center. They're out there working, doing their job, and they're out there supporting and working with our community. Human resources. This is an area also, as I kind of mentioned a minute ago, a lot of people don't think a lot about, but it is a very important part of any business, government agency, whatever the case may be, how you want to look at it. We normally run around 165 employees, and with that being said, there are HR things that come up that we have to deal with, and we want to be able to deal with them appropriately for the city and also for our employees. HR, we work with the different departments, in relations, updates, benefits, anything that comes down the pike that we need to do. And in today's world, whenever you talk about HR, there is a lot of changing policies and events that continue to take place that have to be updated. And our employees need to know about those. As far as providing training, I was very pleased whenever I introduced and worked with the dementia-friendly group as far as getting them into the city and training our city employees, keeping our city rated as a dementia-friendly city with over 95% of employees being trained. Dementia-friendly is something that I knew about, and then I had a personal experience with it, with an individual. And I have to say it opened my eyes because there are a lot of people out there that have a little bit of dementia that really is not all that noticeable. You may not really realize it, but in the training you pick up on things that they do and you're like, oh, wait a minute. We need to look at this a little bit differently because we need to communicate with this person in just a little bit different manner. So it's very important for us to be able to work with our citizens to help them and also to help us. CPR training, there again, it's something that we do. It's a huge benefit for our employees, and it's also a huge benefit to our citizens because a lot of our employees are trained in CPR and they can be of assistance. 2025 also marked the City of Bedford's bicentennial year. So, that was very important to everyone because that's a big milestone. We participated in a Limestone Heritage Festival parade, and then we did something else that was new, Best of Bedford, highlighting people, places, and memories that we can all call home. We had people, submit stuff to us as far as to, leaves and different things. I mean, we asked for a lot of things and a lot of different input. And the community was involved in it, and it was really nice to see the community be involved and give us what they looked at Bedford, what they thought was nice and what they thought was best, to be able to correspond with them and get information from them. It was great. So now we're going to stop and kind of look at here and kind of look at, what's in store for 26. And there again, when we look at what's in store for 26, as to look at it to try to be proactive as to what we need to accomplish for our city. Housing is an issue almost in every community. I was at a mayor's meeting today, and one of the main topics was housing. It always is. Nearly $15 million in rental housing stock is currently planned for 26 in our community, with the addition of projects like Limestone Edge apartments and townhouses and duplexes. That's something that we are seeing a lot of here in the City of Bedford. We're seeing a lot of our builders that are going around and buying up what little bit of vacant land that we have. They're also looking at some of the residences that are in bad condition, purchasing some of those residences and tearing them down, and then building duplexes. There again, a lot of our residents don't have a lot of this information or knowledge because there again, they travel their certain paths around town and they don't adventure out into different areas to see some of the things that are going on. There is a lot of housing that's taken place, and I believe there's going to be much more here in the future. We talked a little bit about the businesses opened, Rookies, Five Below, Wings Extreme. Most of us know out across from Walmart, there's going to be a development out there that's already started. They're looking at probably 5 commercial lots out there on that piece of property. So that's going to be more businesses, whatever's going to go in out there. It's going to be more growth for our community that Bedford is still growing. Some planned updates for our parks and recreation. Renovating the cart path on hole 18. Something that's I think is going to be really nice and important is that's going to be up at the garden park. They've got the little track up there around it that's gravel. There's plans they're going to get that asphalt put down on that track. that people can go up there and walk outdoors and enjoy that walking path around there. And that's a park up there that you think is kind of, I don't want to say out of the way, but I go up there quite a bit, and that park is used a lot. They've got the little outbuilding there, that little pavilion with picnic tables and stuff. I was by the other day, and evidently somebody was having a big birthday party up there. They got the playground equipment and everything there and stuff. It's just a great area for that. Police department, they continue as far as to their youth programs and visiting the schools and building relationships with our community and working with them to relate to our community, and so the community can relate to them. They work very hard from that standpoint as far as community involvement with different programs that we have with our children in the area. As we know, the city is actively pursuing a location to build a new Northside Fire Station. There again, we're trying to be proactive from the standpoint of, we've already ordered a new fire truck. It's going to be an engine ladder truck. It'll have a 70-foot ladder on it. We anticipate that we'll go with the Northside Fire Station, wherever that ends up being, that we will have that up there. And what I refer to is in that retail area to a point. Also, General Motors is in that area. This will be a great added piece of equipment to our community. Right now, we have our 100-foot platform fire truck that is a large fire truck, and a lot of times it doesn't respond on runs unless it's a specific type of call-in that there's possibly a fire. This engine ladder truck will be small enough that it basically will respond to all fires if needed in that area or wherever, but it will also have a 70-foot ladder that when they get there, if they need it, it will be available. So it will be a great addition to the fire department. And with that being said, then, that is one of the reasons. There are others, reference to the Northside Fire Station as far as looking to a new facility to house that ladder truck. Street department, we talked about snowplow trucks. We're purchasing 2 new plow trucks also to put into our fleet so that we'll have those. A grapple truck. We've got one that's about wore out. It's used tremendous amount of time. But go back to the plow trucks. As I mentioned earlier, these plow trucks, you don't use them all the time necessarily, let alone the plows and stuff. And whenever you have 1 or 2 go down and you've got a major snow going on. So our plan is that we'll have these 2 new plow trucks, and then we will probably keep the other 2 of our oldest plow trucks and have them on hand in case something, if we have one that breaks down or whatever. Being proactive, we'll have another plow truck that we can put back in service if we need to. Or if we have a major snow and we need to have it out on the road, we'll have that availability to be able to use it. The grapple truck, these kind of started into play. They had one whenever I was elected, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it works. But there again, I was in HR before that, and one of the main issues that came up that was really a big issue that was great to have, this grapple truck, and this sounds kind of odd, but it's reality to what we have to deal with. We were having people call in and said, hey, I got my mattress outside, you need to come and pick it up. Well, then sometimes we had an issue with bed bugs. That was a tremendous issue for the city and to our employees. So with the grapple truck, we could go pick it up. No employees had to touch anything, they had to do anything. They could pick up, load it, and they could take it and dispose of it. So those trucks were very handy from the standpoint of using them for many tasks as far as being able to accomplish what we needed to accomplish. Utilities. We talked about Spider Creek a minute ago, and I said, there's continuing work that needs to be done. We're monitoring right now, reference to we have another overflow down on K Street that goes down to the 22nd M Street lift station. That is going to have to be dealt with. IDEM, I believe, has put a time frame on it at this time, I think the end of 31 possibly, in that ballpark. But this will also be a major task for the City of Bedford to be able to work with this to accomplish this task. Transit Authority, our task bus. They're in the process. I believe they're going to be looking for get a new bus, and they're again being proactive to keep our city moving, our residents being able to get to where they need to get. One other thing that we have that we're working on into the future that I'm looking very forward to, and as the City of Bedford is working with BU Enterprise Association at the old Monon Depot that unfortunately burnt over at 13th and J Street, as far as putting in a park. We're wanting to put in a really nice park over at that location, maybe have a small pavilion, a picnic area, maybe have it set up for a couple of food trucks possibly to be able to be there at times, have a really nice playground area for the kids to be able to go and picnic, whatever the case may be. And also, it also connects right on to would be a straight shot over to the Milwaukee Trail over on Lincoln Avenue. That we could have an area there also that people could visit, do whatever they wanted to do, and go walk on the trail and have a nice area for them to park their vehicles and so on. And there again, we talk about the city council room. It should be completed, hopefully. I hope it's completed by July. They're moving right along to try to finish some things up, and we'll get it done. So I appreciate everyone taking the time to join us, whether if you're here, if you're going to view us on Facebook, whatever the case may be. Now, whenever I've talked this evening about all of these accomplishments, all of the things that we're looking at doing, I'm the one that's standing up here and talking, but all of this could not be accomplished without the help of the City Council, RDC, the Board of Works, and then everyone at the City of Bedford. The department heads at the City of Bedford, we have an outstanding group of individuals. These people come to work, they take their job serious. We've made many, many improvements since I've been mayor. I can't take credit for all of this because these people on the ground see what's going on, and they come to me and they say, hey, we need to look at this, or we may need to do this, or maybe we need to stop this. And then we can evaluate it, and then we can go from there and make the right decision. So the team that I work with is exceptionally well. So everything I've stood up here and talked about tonight is a definite reflection on them to make these accomplishments as we all work together. So with that being said, I want to thank our citizens for their ongoing engagement and their community support, because that's what we're here for, is to work for our citizens to make the City of Bedford the best place it can be. And I appreciate all of the citizens that also work with us in that goal. So I want to thank everyone for being here and watching on Facebook. Just thank you very much.